Hi, everybody. We're back with our 7th episode of the Starseed Hub podcast. And today we're talking about twin flames, soulmates, karmics, and divine counterparts. What a big topic, Susie.
Incredible. And I think we are going to get some tongues wagging with this. There is so much out there in the spiritual community, definitions and labels and stereotypes. And we're going to smash all of them today, aren't we, Loren?
We definitely are. And I think, we're kind of going to be looking at it in terms of the way maybe some of those terms have evolved as we've evolved through, the third dimension, the fourth dimension, and looking into the fifth dimension now, that maybe some of the terms we've been using are a little bit outdated and toxic. And I'm really looking forward to us unpacking that. I know it's something we both feel really strongly about.
Yeah, totally. Okay, we'll get started. But before we get started, I think we need to acknowledge this crazy energy around the Lion's Gate. Correct?
Oh, absolutely. It's been a big one this year for everyone. So we've got the Lionsgate portal, which is currently open. It'll peak on the 8th of August. And You and I have been sort of inundated with clients and colleagues and friends and sort of, family members who are really, really struggling through this time. We've got people that are feeling exhausted and overwhelmed and anxious and feeling like their lives are being turned upside down. And even people that are quite used to this energy and understand it. This one's really powerful, isn't it?
It's super powerful. And what I might do is just read out the details around there. So if you guys are getting some ascension symptoms or some funny symptoms at the moment, listen up to this and just tune in and see if this is what's going on. Okay, it's all to do with the extra intensified Lionsgate this year. This is just from a astrologist online called Nancy Valentine Smith. So she's put out a message. Okay, so this has all got to do with the stars. The portals of change are being activated quite strongly at the moment. There is a lot of star frequencies moving through and around us. For some, there is a triggering occurring around the sacral, so that's the orange chakra, and base, which is the root chakra, the red chakra. These centers are releasing any distortions and stuck energy, okay? So the lower chakras are really copping it at the moment. The feelings of overwhelm and distortion might be felt. The foundation of grief is held in the sacral and base energy centers. This can cause a domino effect in your physical and emotional bodies, for there is a deep release occurring, not only within your individual being, but also within the earth. So some of you might be feeling scattered and foggy around the head, okay, the crown. There is a change in direction around your thoughts, the way you process how you are and move in the world and in your life. The intensity of a supernova alignment coming through one of the portals of change in resonance with the Lion's Gate has begun, and you will feel the effects of this strongly. It can feel very unusual because these are the star system codes that are being turned on around our head's center, while simultaneously clearing, healing, and bringing forth to be alchemized our grief individually and globally. Some of you in this week might experience releases of stuck energy, breakthrough, transformation, feeling very odd or feeling down and heavy. Please know that this won't last long. Move gently this week and take lots of rest when you can. Your body is stepping into a very high frequency template, and this might cause discomfort and just feeling weird. Support your chest and your throat area. You can put a diffuser. You can put inside a diffuser eucalyptus oil or lemon oil or any essential oil that keeps your space clear. The galactic nexus has begun its focus on Earth through the constellations of our bodies. Allow this change and the release of the density of your emotions with gentleness and kindness to yourself. That's beautiful.
Wow, what a message. So we've really got all of that sort of, stuff that's been stuck and buried coming up to be looked at and transmuted so that you can sort of ascend further on your path. Adding to Lionsgate, we've also got Mercury about to go into retrograde. So if you're having issues with your electronics, Like
I'm
us.
already having issues with my electronic.
I
For the
know.
past
We're
week,
in the
ask my customers. They're getting frustrated. I couldn't even take a payment this morning. And I can't get my music working properly in my healing center. And my phones ran out of space. Help. Go away,
I
Mercury. Go
know.
away.
No, we shouldn't be fatalistic about Mercury, but it can be super annoying. And the other thing that's just happened too, I'm pretty sure, and you guys can write in and correct me if I'm wrong, but Chiron's just gone retrograde too. So Chiron's a wounded healer. So it is a really sort of, this is why this time's so intense. So it is a time for healing. It's a time for letting go of the stuff from the past and doing that inner healing work and honoring yourself. And it is messy sometimes, isn't it? This ascension process. It's not all rainbows and butterflies.
No, not at all. But when you get into an understanding of what's going on vibrationally, energetically, in the atmosphere and within your body on the micro level, then you start to understand, okay, now it's time to go within. Now it's time to ground. Now my body needs rest. And when you honor that, you can move through these changes seamlessly and to support your body in the way that it needs to integrate these higher vibrational energies. Then when you get to the other side of that, bliss, like you feel so much better.
Totally.
You're cleared, you feel lighter.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's necessary. We do need these.
Yeah.
They're not just coming here to bully us, these high frequency codes and energies.
No matter
we do need them.
Yeah. Sometimes it might feel like that. And, reach out if you need help, if you need support from different practitioners, like now's the time to reach out. If you can get yourself to an E system in the city that you live in, use that technology to support you. There's things out there that can help you through this transition. But rest and hydration are super important right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you happen to be outdoors, do your grounding, get those hands off the ground and release those energies and just absorb the beautiful life force energy from the earth.
Absolutely.
Other powerful ways, isn't it? Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. I think we need to start talking about our twin flames.
We went off on a tangent before we even started, didn't we? I love that.
Yeah, but like so many people they need to hear this broadcast. They need to hear this broadcast because a lot of people are texting us through saying, what's going on, guys? We're feeling awful.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about, twin flames, karmic soulmates and divine counterparts. And I thought maybe we would just start by talking about why this energy is coming up so much now in the collective. Like it's always kind of been around, but it's really sort of prominent now. Do you have any sort of thoughts on this, Susie, why it's coming up at this point in time?
Absolutely. Whatever is happening on the micro level to us and in our relationships is happening on a macro level here in the collective on Earth. And Earth planets have souls.
Yeah.
Planets have energy grids, just like we have an internal energy grid, right? And so whatever the Earth is needing to shift through or transform into, and we know we're shifting into 5D, right? There's going to be birthing pains, just like we get ascension pains when there's higher vibrational energy coming in and we need to shift. The Earth has this too. And so, what the Earth, as we know, is a planet that has both the masculine and the feminine energies within its consciousness, collective consciousness. However, we all know, us healers, we all have felt it at some level, that it's off balance. We've got the wounded feminine down here, okay, and we won't go into the history of that, but we all know a little bit about that. Then we've got the toxic patriarchy, the masculine that's out of balance and the feminine that is out of balance too. So on an individual level in our relationships, we need to find balance within our masculine and feminine, correct? And this is why it's coming up now. Yeah. So that the Earth can get into balance too. Because if we all get our act together and we start to balancing with our counterparts, our masculine and feminine energies, then the Earth is able to do the same because it's, we're all connected. Energy is connected.
Yeah. That was amazing. I love that. That was explained so well. I think just adding to that too, it's that opportunity of obviously, end game is to balance out those energies. And for those people who are incarnating with a counterpart on on Earth this lifetime. It's that opportunity to come into union with that counterpart, or grow in union with that counterpart if you're already in that union. It's also an opportunity for people to awaken to maybe the karmic relationships that they're in this lifetime that might be a little bit toxic, and do that healing and balance those energies out within themselves so they're able to leave that behind and come into union with either a soulmate or a divine counterpart.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can tie this back to our episode on the Pleiades. I think we mentioned before, the Pleiadians have a vested interest in Earth coming into balance and us going into the 5D. And they're the perfect guardians for this and this type of work. Because as we mentioned, Loren and I mentioned earlier, they have got the whole masculine and feminine balance down pat. They're in perfect balance on their planet between the masculine and feminine energies. And so, Loren, when we see Pleiadians come through in, for their clients, when they're coming to help with healings, they come in with a masculine Pleiadian and a feminine Pleiadian. They work in counterparts. They work in pairs, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Because they're trying to bring about balance, and so they have the perfect template for that. So they're our benchmark. The Pleiadians are our benchmark. So we look to them for advice and help with this whole struggle and balance between the masculine and the feminine.
And they love to help us with that. That's what they're there for. So we can call that helping. What we should sort of mention too is that Susie and I, when we're talking about masculine and feminine, we are always talking about energies. We are never talking about genders.
Absolutely.
So really, really important. So with our work, we read energy. And so it's not a gendered, when we're talking about masculine and feminine, it's not a gendered thing for us. So we do see Pleiadian counterparts come in, and they might be of the same gender, but they've got that perfect balance of divine masculine and feminine within them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so we should explain what a divine counterpart is. So basically, my understanding, or so the story goes, is that counterparts souls, separate souls, that's important to note, two separate souls.
Two separate souls.
This is going to be important later, guys. Just remember that.
Pay attention. Not the same soul.
No, not a split soul. Two separate souls that are, and the story goes that they are created by Source at the same time. And within that creation, they embody together the perfect balance of masculine and feminine energy, right? And then so over lifetimes, these divine counterparts incarnate at the same time. And divine counterparts are, from what I understand, usually always romantic relationships. I could be wrong there, but just from what my understanding. But the difference, I guess, is that they've always got a shared mission. So they incarnate at a time and place, in existence where they've got a really important mission to do. And I guess that's sort of what makes them different maybe from like a soulmate and obviously a karmic, is that there's a shared mission involved there.
Absolutely. And so like one of the counterparts has that perfect feminine template and the other one has the perfect masculine template. And so when you put them together, they actually create balance in their relationship. If they're in balance within themselves, have done in alignment in their purpose, then when you put those two souls together, they create magic, they create balance. And that's, like we said earlier, is what the earth is needing. And so they're put together, like Loren said, on these missions, because whatever attributes they have within their feminine and their masculine consciousness, it's what's needed for the mission to succeed.
Yeah.
Powerful
and
stuff.
So do you think when you come into contact with your divine counterpart, say it's the first time you're meeting them, in this life, what sort of because you're in a divine counterpart relationship, which is really lovely, So we should talk about that.
Yeah, happy to use my husband and my relationship as an example. I think I do that with my clients all the time anyway.
Yeah, and you and Kenny have been together for a long time, which I mean, we should actually, before I kind of go on, we should sort of explain that, because generally there's there's a little bit of a misconception out there that divine counterparts only sort of come into union when they've done a lot of healing work themselves, like they've done all the work on themselves and they're sort of at that almost, if not 50 level of consciousness, and then they come into union and the balance is there and they get on with their mission, and that's lovely, and that's how it is going to be for a lot of people. But actually the counterpart unions that I know are very different. They've come into union when they've been a lot younger, including yours, and you've had to do the work together. Yeah, absolutely. And I was laughing with Loren about this one day, that because Ken and I, my husband and I, have had numerous past lives together, and because I'm doing this work, clearly I remember a lot of that interaction that I've had with him and done work over, stuff that we've triggered within each other over past lives. And so when we've met in this lifetime, obviously the connection is there because we recognize each other on a soul level. But like Loren said, stuff that he's done to me and I've done to him in other lifetimes comes up, and we start triggering each other in certain ways, because it's like, oh, remember we left off here, let's do that clearing first from the 10,000 years ago lifetime, and then get onto this current timeline, because I'm sure there's plenty more that's coming through now that needs to be healed. So we're continually doing work. Like this relationship, it's exhausting. Like there's continually things that are coming up, and it's exciting because you think you fix and clear one thing and then another thing comes up. And it's good because both our personalities, we're both kind of like a little bit, I would say, like A-type or overachieving. And we're continually looking to improve and create efficiency. And so when things do happen and we knock heads, then we go, okay, we go into our own corners, do our own work, then come together and just have a chat about what happened there. And fuss is like peeling the onion. One layer comes off, but another layer comes off, and we go back into 10,000 years ago, and I'm apologizing for something I did back then, and he's going, you're crazy. And at the end of the day, you guys grow together, and that's the whole the whole purpose really of a divine counterpart relationship. There's unconditional love, there's growth, and there's a shared mission. And it's really those three things that I guess separate a counterpart relationship from maybe other relationships that we're going to be looking at today.
You know what, Loren? Sorry, while you were talking, I realized our wedding anniversary is in a few days, and I just realized, my goodness, we chose the Lion's Gate portal together.
Did you get married on the 8th?
We got married on the 2nd, so like
during Lion's Gate.
Lion's Gate.
That's so funny.
How funny is that? Great.
That makes sense.
I didn't know at the time. Didn't know. Wasn't awakened yet.
And that's the other thing too. You will have those kind of funny synchronicities with a counterpart relationship where you're like, oh, okay, that's sort of interesting. Like, and things line up that way. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So basically, I think we sort of covered it a little bit, but what role do counterparts play in this current timeline? Like, so we're talking about that balance of the masculine and feminine energy, shared missions and things like that. Like, do we need to kind of cover anything else, do you think?
I think we've covered everything, but they're kind of like a benchmark or a template that when they can get it right and they're in balance with one another, like we said, they're in union, and they can create a higher level of consciousness that brings about more balance to the earth. Because as we know, the divine feminine is wounded and the toxic patriarchy is fully fledged, and we need to create that beautiful union of balance so that we have that beautiful space that the divine masculine can step into and feel safe to step into and supported to step into.
That's
absolutely important. I think very important. I think we're about to go into our favorite topic, and that's
let's do it. Let's talk about twin flames.
Yeah. We get
our favorite topic, Susie. Why do we love talking about it so much?
We get asked that a lot. Oh, is this person my twin flame? Can you tune in, please? Right?
Yeah.
I've just met my twin flame, and this is what's happening, and that's happening. And so Loren and I have a conversation about this. This is why we decided to do this podcast. We both discovered that there is an issue, and I would call it a false light issue. Okay.
Absolutely.
Where this term has been marketed to mean something that it does not mean. Okay. So shall we go into what it is currently being marketed in the false light community
right now?
We'll define the definition that most of you may have heard or know of.
Yeah.
Then we're going to tell you the truth behind twin flame.
We're going to rip it to shreds.
We're going to rip it to shreds. So tune out now if you don't want to,
you don't want to hear
different perspective. You don't want to tune into a higher perspective, tune out now.
And this is the other thing too, guys. We're not always going to say things that you agree with, and that's okay. Like, everybody's allowed to have different views on things, and it's important that you go with what resonates with you. But this is what we believe. So, Susie, do you want to talk about what's currently sort of out there in the community about twin flames?
So the false media would have us believe that twin flames are one soul that is created, that is split off into two pieces. So a half soul, two half souls that float through timelines that need to find each other. And when they find each other, it's the greatest love on earth, because these two half souls are coming together and they're finally complete, because without one another, they're not complete.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the narrative. That's the narrative. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what is happening in your life when your twin flame comes along. You must dump anyone who's in your life, drop everything, and focus on this other person.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right. I hope I've explained it properly.
Yeah. And then I guess the narrative kind of goes on to say that it'll be the most intense love that you've ever experienced. And when you come into union, they will mirror all these aspects of yourself back to you. And then because of that, you won't stay in union. So there'll be a runner. So someone will leave the dynamic, and then someone will be the chaser. So not only have we got this situation that's been perpetuated that you're not a whole person because you're only half a soul. You need to find this other person to be whole. Mm-hmm. And then potentially they're going to treat you not very nicely. And when they run away from you, it's your job to chase after them and try and come back in union. Yeah. Yeah.
That is so dangerous. That is so dangerous on so many levels. Let's break it apart. But first, shall we put forward the real definition of twin flame?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a deep spiritual complex, phenomena that is actually rare. It's not common. It's not common. Yeah. Okay. A twin flame is a soul that is experiencing multiple lifetimes at the same time, multiple timelines at the same time. And so it is near impossible, very, very rare, for the same soul to be in one timeline in more than one body at a time, and for them to meet. Okay. Yeah. And the purpose behind this spiritual phenomena is that this soul has been granted some sort of privilege to fast track its ascension and its experience, its learning. So it splits itself across many timelines. The same soul splits itself and its experience over so many different lifetimes at the same time, so it can fast track its learning, experience, and ascension. Yeah. Okay. If by any chance, and this is very rare to happen, that your soul is in another body or another two bodies in the same timeline, in the same existence on earth, and you happen to meet by chance, you're not going to have a romantic scenario. Okay.
Oh,
It
that's
would
good to
be,
clear up. Yeah.
it would be like meeting yourself, and
Yeah.
it would be off. It would be like dating your brother, or
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not. That's not what the purpose of a twin flame is. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get that straight. Do you have comments to add to that, Loren?
No,
Does that
honestly,
hit right for you?
Yeah. I mean, I've actually never met a soul who is on that experience. Like, I feel like that's how rare it is. Not that I've been aware of. So I haven't come across it.
There is, now if you're into the QHHT materials like Dolores Cannon and Sarah Breastman Cosme, highly recommend those two authors. They're QHHT practitioners. In one of Sarah's recent books, actually, she mentions that the being known throughout our Earth history as Thoth. He's like, the ancient Egyptian god of wisdom and all of that stuff. He's quite a high vibrational soul. Now, she mentioned through her clients in the sessions that she's been happening that he's actually present within three different souls, three different bodies. Sorry, correct myself, three different bodies, the same soul, in three different bodies, and they call him three in this current timeline. Okay?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Not for the sake of those three people to get together and merge themselves. It's because they're on a really important mission. They're spread out across the earth to do what they need to do. They don't need, they're not needing each other. He's needing to split himself. He's a very high vibrational soul. He's been granted access to that sort of, spiritual access.
So that's how rare it is.
Oh, it's rare. Yeah, absolutely.
Super rare.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Should we go back to ripping apart the twin flame?
Okay, so now let's go back and break that definition that's out there that you all know about.
Yeah.
Loren, this is your area of expertise. Go for it.
Yeah, so I guess it's problematic because obviously, to start with, there's a narrative out there that makes people feel like they're not whole within themselves and that they need somebody else to make themselves feel whole. So first of all, we've got people looking outside of themselves, which is the complete opposite of what we're meant to be doing, right? Like, so everything is within us, inside of us. Anything that external happens that's positive is just a bonus, whether that, be a relationship or not. So it's problematic to start there with. And then just in terms of like issues around enmeshment. So enmeshing with another person, like that's not how it's meant to be. You're one soul on your own, and you've got your own boundaries and your life and your interests and the things that you want to accomplish. And then at some point you meet other souls, whether they be romantic relationships or friendships or colleagues or whatever, who are whole within themselves, and you guys decide that you've got common interests and you decide to do life together, and there's no enmeshing there. So we don't want energetic or emotional enmeshment happening in any of our relationships. Basically, it's super unhealthy, and it's something that you and I have to help people work through all the time, isn't it? That sort of enmeshment thing. And I think just the whole narrative around it doesn't promote having healthy boundaries in relationships, because there is that narrative around, your twin soul can sort of, this is the narrative I don't like, is that in a lot of the literature, it sort of says that, obviously your twin soul is going to trigger you and they might treat you really badly, but you're always going to want to be drawn back to them and come back to them. That is like the definition of toxicity, basically. Absolutely. Having somebody treat you poorly and then labeling it as a spiritual label, and then going, well, it's okay because they're my twin flame, and that's what happens in a twin flame. Yeah, I've just got to put up with it. No, you don't. You don't. Like, you're not here to be treated poorly. Whether you think it's a twin flame relationship or not, you shouldn't stay with anybody who treats you poorly, and you certainly shouldn't chase after them if they decide to run. you should wave them on their way and say, see you later, like, and do your own healing.
Absolutely.
And bring a soulmate in.
Definitely. And Loren, like, I don't know about you, but I think I've had clients come in and say to me, I've met my twin soul, so I need to break up with my husband, or I need to break up with my wife.
Yeah.
I hold up here.
Wow. Yeah. Put the brakes
what
on.
are you escaping? What is it within yourself that you are running away from? And then that's when we have to do really, really intense work, right?
Absolutely.
Help support our client with seeing that this is a fantasy that you are creating. The grass is not always greener, guys. It's not always greener. You've been given this opportunity, this experience to decide, okay, what is it that needs to be healed or cleared here? There's a problem. If you are in a deep relationship, a committed relationship, and someone else comes along and you are drawn out of that relationship with somebody else, you have not done the work within the current one. Okay. Ideally, if you have a true counterpart that comes into your life, you're single, you've done your work, you've rounded up any relationships that are no longer in your highest purpose, and you're ready to receive your counterpart. Okay. A true soulmate or counterpart will never demand that you leave a partner that you were with. It's not this concept is not of a higher vibration or a higher consciousness.
It's a very 3D concept, and that twin flame concept has been around for a really long time, hasn't it? It's been perpetuated over time. And I think what's really sad about it is that I've watched people lose years of their lives being in these dynamics with people that they think is some sort of spiritual relationship, and really it's been the embodiment of
contract.
It's a karmic contract, and quite often it's a if you feel like you're so energetically connected to someone, you probably are, but it's probably a narcissist. It's probably a narcissist empath relationship, because there are energetic cords that are touching with those relationships. So a lot of the time it mimics, or it is actually that type of a relationship. And I just think, like if you think you're in a twin flame relationship and your twin flame has moved to the other side of the world and they send you a text, once every 12 months, that's not a relationship. That's a karmic contract. So we should talk about soulmates and karmic contracts and things like that. Do you want to explain karmic contracts? You're really good at explaining karmics.
Yeah, sure. I guess we all kind of have soul families, okay? And we incarnate with those soul families for a reason. We've lived, multiple lifetimes with these individuals, with these other souls, and they're part of our soul family. And the reason behind that is because either we've got, learnings or teachings that we have, and that is what makes up a karmic contract. So, for example, you may incarnate with a parent more than once because perhaps in a past life they treated you horribly, you held on to resentment, or maybe you've got a bit of trauma around, being your authentic self because of this relationship that you've had in a past life. So then you come through into the current lifetime with a karmic relationship with that parent where they're going to be awful again to you, and you get that opportunity to clear and heal those things that have come up from your karma that you've had together. Okay. So that you can up level and grow and ascend. That's one type of karmic contract. The other ones I do see, and this will give you guys great relief to know, that we do call in souls that we work or bond really well together, or that we nourish and uplift one another with, to come in as part of our soul group or soul tribe, so that when we are going through these karmic situations or scenarios or missions even, they come in to support us, uplift us and empower us. So, I see a lot of starseeds in this situation where they've got plenty of souls in their soul tribe that are actually there to uplift and support their mission, to ensure that they make it and they do what they're meant to do here, and mutually, so vice versa. Okay. So that's take note of, it's beautiful. So take note of who in your tribe, who are the key players in your life. And this is what people do when they come to see me for Akashic reading. They have a list of questions ready to go. My mom, this is her name. My dad, this is my name. My partner, this is their name. What are our karmic contracts? What do I need to clear so that I don't have to incarnate with them, or so that I learn what I'm meant to learn through my relationship with them? And it's powerful stuff.
So powerful. The work that you do with soul contracts is incredibly powerful. So I would definitely recommend, if anybody's sort of not sure about how they're connected with someone, or you've got someone in your life that's super triggering and you want to understand that a little bit better, touch base with Susie, because you did one on me not long ago, didn't you? Do you remember you did a little soul contract? I shouldn't say who we're talking about because they're not listening.
Is this about your divine masculine counterpart? Is this that one?
No, it was about my dad.
Oh, your dad. Okay, yes. I'm sorry. Yes, now I remember. Yes.
Same
that's
session,
right.
but at the start we just had a little look at that soul contract because something sort of triggered me in that relationship, and I wanted to understand it a little bit better. And you helped me understand that, in such a beautiful way that it just sort of helped me kind of move on from whatever had happened really, really quickly. So it was quite helpful.
It's great. It's good to having a greater perspective or soul perspective, because sometimes when we're in the thick of it, and I feel it myself as well, sometimes with my own relationships, I'm like, oh, I'm so frustrated right now. What am I meant to learn here, guys? Guides, help me. What am I meant to learn? What can I change within myself to help with this connection or this relationship? And it's hard. It's hard because you're emotionally vested,
Oh, it always is.
She said that, we're here to support you guys and help you through those learnings.
And I think, the work that I do is more in looking at the patterns of behavior that come up in those relationships and clearing those. So I'm like the little housekeeper that gets in and sort of helps you clear all of that mess up and helps you move forward in a different way.
Your work with programming and programs that no longer serving people is incredible. Like Loren has actually worked with kids, guys. So Loren's worked with both my 10-year-old and my 6-year-old in working on their, what their triggers and, their kind of when their mindset and their paradigm goes off where it should be and they get out of alignment, okay, and they get, emotional outbursts and all that sort of thing. So we've done a lot of work in healing and clearing around that. So if you have kids, Loren is so good with children.
Oh, thank you. I love working with everyone. We should just say too, like another term for karmics is wound mates. So this is and it's, they're pretty much the same thing. But if we look at a wound mate will come in quite often disguised as a soulmate.
Right, got you.
Yeah, but I think the difference is when you meet a wound mate, there's a bit of a spark there, whereas a soulmate, you have that recognition of I can't say that word, familiarity, right? They're familiar to you. You sort of think, oh, well, like when we met, we're like, oh, I feel like I've known you before, but it wasn't like an intense sparky kind of thing. It was just like an inner knowing. But wound mates and karmics, you tend to get that spark, and what's happening there is that's your nervous system recognizing a high and low pattern in a dynamic, right? So you're recognizing some red flags and some behaviors that you've either experienced with them in a past life or you've experienced in other relationships, and it kind of sets you into that fight or flight mode, but it feels good, right? And then what happens with karmics and wound mates is they basically trigger and mirror to you the aspects of yourself that you haven't healed. Which we do get in counterpart relationships, absolutely, and to some extent in soulmate relationships. But the difference is that in counterpart relationships and soulmate relationships, it always works towards a period of growth and moving on. So you will move through whatever the trigger is, just like you and Kenny do, right? So you definitely still get the triggers. Like we're not talking about fairy tale stuff all the time. It's work. but you move, yeah, but you grow together, right? And you have those periods of growth, and that's where the good stuff is. That's how you create, you know, strong bonds of intimacy in relationships. When you go through periods of growth and you work through things, you don't have that with karmics and roommates. It's just a constant trigger and trigger and trigger, and it gets worse and worse and worse.
Torturing.
It's and you sort of think, oh, have we worked through this? And no, it comes up again, and it just keeps coming up again and again until you awaken. And you usually have to you've got to remove yourself from that relationship to heal and move on from it. That is the big difference. It's not going to happen in union. And those souls have signed up to come in to trigger the crap out of you. That's their job, basically, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's reminding me of that Selena Gomez song. Have you heard the Selena Gomez song? I had to lose you to love me.
Yeah.
I have to lose you to love me.
Oh, yeah. She knows. She's been through
some stuff. I wonder who it was. Was it Justin Bieber?
Let's say.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Okay. I think we have to wrap things up. Lauren,
I think so.
Do you want to go through maybe how do we stop attracting in karmics and start attracting in soulmates and counterparts? I think we'll wrap it up with that. So
basically you need to heal the aspects of you that are being triggered in those relationships. So you heal your core wounds. So it's not about them at all. And I know when you're in those dynamics, they do command a lot of attention. So it feels like it's about them, but it's not. All you need to do is kind of go, what's being triggered inside of me now? When have I felt like that before? Okay, right. Oh, if you need help, obviously reach out to somebody who can help you move through that. But you do that healing work, you move out of that relationship. And as you heal up and your vibration shifts, it creates an energetic space and the right vibration for you to attract more soulmate relationships into your life, whether they be romantic, friendship, pets. Pets can be soulmates, right? You know, improved family dynamics and things like that.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's good. So there's hope. There's hope for all of us.
Oh, there's always hope, guys. There's always hope.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren. That was amazing.
No worries. That was great.
So what are we tackling next week? Have we decided yet, or it's going to be TBC?
It's going to be a surprise, guys, because Susie and I have not talked about it yet. Sorry.
There's plenty to talk about, so stay tuned.
It'll be amazing. Anyway, whatever it is, it'll be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll see you all next time.
See you later. Take care. Bye.